Yeah, brother.
There you go.
This one here, right?
Yeah, left.
Man, when's the last time you had some work?
A little bit last night, but I don't receive work very often, so it's been harder at the jams. We're getting new people that I was willing to work on. So it was nice.
Oh man, I'm gonna keep my socks on until we get warmed up, brother.
No, you're fine. I've also got the mat warmer down, so.
Oh, cool, good. Yeah, a friend messaged me, said she was going last time. And she was like, I think you're the one that was telling me about it. Yeah. How much time do you got today, brother?
All the time. I don't really have much else to do, just some clerical.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to video production, what I see, Tim, is like we're shooting this. This is not going to be Hollywood.
No.
But here's the thing. This video could be living on YouTube for the next 3 years, like promoting your website, my website, everything. And that's what I don't understand about therapists saying, you know, oh, social media, it seems like such a waste of time. And I'm like, oh my, wow, you're not even looking at the question from the standpoint of like 2019. You're looking at like marketing from 20 years ago.
It's about investment. It's been a long time since I worked on you. Tell me if anything starts to feel awkward, man. Any torque or anything like that. You said you had some stuff going on in here too, right?
Yeah,
I think last time. I think last time I was poking there.
Shoulder always seems to be twisted and kind of rounded forward. It always looks to me like my humerus is internally rotated into like what looks like that slouched forward posture. And then I think there's a bit of a scoliosis up to my cervical spine. I even saw a psychiatry video recently and I was looking at my neck and it looked like it was curved.
Usually I like to unwind the arm a little bit. Your arm's not too bad.
Definitely some
A little bit.
tension in there. And when people do work on me, even in a jam, sometimes they're like, "What's work on?" I'm like, "Dude, my whole body. You could just if you spend a good hour just on my feet, I'd be like, oh man, I had no idea I had the attention to my feet."
There you go.
I think, the social media stresses them out. And at some point, I just thoroughly embrace, okay, man, it's never going to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Just do stuff and make it better each time you do it.
Mm-hmm.
And even if it ain't better, just work at it. And when I started doing that and doing that consistently, that's when everything changed. It's like, just the fact that I roll across a video that, 90% of the people don't watch. They just go, oh, Robert has another video. And then the next day they're like, oh, Robert has another video. And after they go through 10 days of that, they finally go, okay, I'll watch this one. And then, class comes up and they're like, okay, I guess I'll take class with Robert. And that's how it works.
It's like, okay, I guess
You
so.
don't have to be like, you're a hardcore #1 fan, watch everything you do, and you hope for that. But people are busy. If you give them a library of information they can just flip through at any time,
Eventually, that's what it is.
you make yourself a resource.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
I don't know if that was like a sneeze or a cough or both.
Did your arm and rotator cuff do better after that last time you worked on it?
Yeah, so man, that was just a little bit after Thanksgiving, actually.
Yeah.
Got a little bit better, but a little bit, man. But I heard it worse than I thought I did, man. My clavicle was hurt, all the way in my neck muscles, scalenes, all underneath my shoulder blade. But for that initial massage, yeah. And then I didn't have anybody touch it for weeks, up until about last week.
You were afraid to have work on?
Well, it was just in a really sensitive position. You know, I couldn't move it any which way or anything like that. And the little bit of work that I did was pretty painful. So I just had to let it chill for a little bit, just to kind of see how it would work. And then it went right there. And slowly open your fingers for me. There you go, much as you can. There we go. Man, that injury, man, I thought it was just a neck injury at first when I first did it. So I kept on grappling. But after the round, man, I was still pretty sore. And then the lower belt, the guy that had been watching asked to grapple, and I was like, dang, all right. Did another round and then went home, man, and it killed me. Anyway, man, I was thinking, I read a lot of audiobooks. And there's a guy I've been following a lot of his books, high fantasy type stuff. Anyways, in this story, this guy is he's like a king, you know, and he's going a different route than what most people have gone. And the ardents, the religious people and things like that, you know, are trying to sway him to not, you know, go where he's doing, you know. And he's like, what about what about tradition? And it's funny because this is when I started thinking about you. I was like, oh, Robert, I love this story. He said, what about tradition? And he was like, did I ever tell you the story of my master and wearing the proper takuma? Takuma is like a gi, you know, like a shirt that you would wear. Anyways, the guy was like, you know, my master would say, you know, you have to wrap it around your waist 3 times, you know, you put your, you know, trousers on first, and then you do this, and then you know, wrap the belt around 3 times. And he was like, man, that always pissed me off. He's like, why do I always have to do it 3 times, you know? And so he's like, later on, you know, I went to my master's master and asked him. And he said, well, he's like, that's just the proper thing to do. That's just the way you do those things. And he said, he's like, that's the way we were taught. And then so he went to his master's after he like conquered the city, and he went to this master who was sitting at a table, didn't care what was going on, the city had been taken over, you know, new rule, everything, you know. And he asked him, and he was like, why do you do the takuma and tie it 3 times, you know, it's ridiculous. And he stood up, and he was like, the guy was like super short, right? The guy was super short, and he was like, well, the reason why I tie the takuma 3 times is because if I don't tie it that much, the strings hang down real low, and I trip over my feet. And so I was like, man, Robert would love that story. It just goes to, you know, with everybody, you know, always talking about tradition and stuff like that. It kind of made me chuckle. Sometimes it's good to do something different. That's what Bruce Lee did, man.
Well, the good stuff gets good to me once you start to break the rules. And when you break the rules, you don't break them just to break them.
Right.
You just got to find out where the edges of your practice are. That's all. Like, it's a challenge because you know as well as I do, once you really work with students, their capacity and capability is different than mine. Their bodies are shaped differently. Their size is different. Their emotional and psychological set is different. You know, they've got to be able to use themselves. I can't teach them that. I can give them rote sequences, a question, you know, give them space to practice, give them some basic stuff to work with, but they've got to do it. And there's no substitute for that. It doesn't matter how good online training is. You know, it's like, it's a physical discipline, just like martial arts or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or whatever else. If they've got to do it, I can read books about arm bars all day long. It's completely different than trying to put somebody in an arm bar.
I could probably put you in like a little omoplata right here. I remember doing that one time to Dow. A long time ago at one of your jams. He was amazed. He's like, what? I was like, yeah, man, this is a move. He's like, oh, man, but press right there. He's like, that's good.
Give me just a second to check where the camera's at.
Yeah, man. About to turn you around here a little bit.